Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Soy Carlos Matamoros de Hora local y hoy les voy a platicar sobre Ton de Haas, que Ton de Haas es el director de desarrollo de movimientos de A.Lange Söhne. Ahora sí que una verdadera eminencia del mundo de la relojería moderna y que nos va a platicar sobre las últimas innovaciones de la marca, 3 nuevos mecanismos, 3 nuevos relojes que presentaron este año en el Watches and Wonders 2021.
What do you prefer, Tony or Ton?
Ton is for Dutch. Ton is they call me Ton or Tony. I don't mind. You said both, so I'm here.
Yeah, perfect. So we are with Ton de Haas, the genius behind the mechanical novelties of Lange Söhne, one brand that is normally quite exceptional in creations. There's no disappointment with A.Lange Söhne. And no, there's no disappointment. So the thing is, I have been looking at the novelties, especially the Lange 1 with the perpetual calendar. And I saw that you took a different route on the system of changing months of the perpetual calendar. It was a system that you adopted from an early version, the Lange 1 perpetual tourbillon.
Tourbillon, yeah.
Yes. Can you tell me a little about this change of innovation?
Yes. The idea, the technical solution for the Lange 1 perpetual calendar is not entirely new, because the first time we launched the watch with such a perpetual calendar was in 2012. That was the Lange 1 tourbillon perpetual calendar. It is a highly complicated watch, also because we fully integrated the tourbillon carriage in that watch. So it's a very delicate watch to build for watchmakers.
Okay.
And knowing that many Lange Söhne fans said, oh, wow, this is magnificent. This layout for a perpetual calendar is beautiful. Only it's out of my reach because 300,000 euros is a lot of money. And they said, please make it without the tourbillon. People think, logically, they say, you take out the tourbillon and there you go. And then it's maybe I can afford it. It is not that easy. And we started anyhow on the idea in 2017. In 2017, we had the idea to create such a perpetual calendar, but then without a tourbillon. What do we do then when we start a project like that? We go and talk with the people who became the real expert on that movement. These are the people in the manufactory who built that movement. And at that time, they built it 5 years with the tourbillon version. And we went out talking with the guys who did the Daymatic, the Lange 1 Daymatic. That was the Lange 1 Automatic, which we launched in 2010. And we had, and maybe I can share you my screen. Maybe it's interesting to show you the differences, because it will be I hope so, that it will be very clear, because I have a picture here of all 3 movements.
Okay, because you switched from a 48 level cam that is normal in perpetual calendars for a very different system to get this peripheral month, which is
exactly
painted. Yes,
exactly. So we start at the front underneath the dial.
Mm-hmm.
You see the perpetual calendar.
Yes,
and this is the month. This is the peripheral month ring. The ring is not only an indicational piece, but underneath the ring there are different levels. Near October, here is a lever.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and this is in contact with the underneath level. And a month, if there's a month displayed with, for example, February, to take the extreme, in a normal case, 28 days, it needs to switch 29, 30, 31, 1. At the end of February, 4 days it has to switch. So the lever wants to have the longest path, the longest way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the solution for instead of the 48 months ring.
I can imagine that it requires considerably more power than the normal cam.
Oh, yes. And you can see, because most of the time with classical perpetual calendar, you have a basic movement, and on top you have a level of perpetual calendar, a module.
Yes.
Here you have a module, but the main part, and I go with my pointer here to the middle here, right? So above the sky disk here. This level is integrated in the basic movement. So it's more hybrid. It's not a module just on top of a daymatic. Mm-hmm. It is a special movement for this. And underneath here is the cam for the switching of the day for every day. But at the end of the month, you need more power. And then there's the lever from here, where it goes from left to right for these two gears, also with cams and a strong spring behind it, which are responsible for switching the month ticks for 30 degrees. Click. And everything happens instantaneously.
That's amazing part, because you have to accumulate energy for each of different indications.
Yes, let's call it the charging time. So the time that the lever is forced and have its moment of drop at midnight, tuck, to action all the data, that is the last 6 hours. It starts gently to raise from the cam to drop around midnight. Boom.
Okay.
And once per month, it's almost 8 to 10 hours. The other spring for the month ring is also engaged and being charged, but very gently. Because the steeper you go, the steeper you charge that spring, the more resistance you have from the gear train. And that is a big influence on the timekeeping, and that you don't want to have.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, it affects the chronometry.
Okay, and now I'm going to show you another image. I have so many images. So, okay, here we go. So I hope you can see it.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, you see 3 movements. And let's start what they all have in common. That is the oscillating weight, the rotor. Mm-hmm. We kept that the same because we like that so much. We said, this is nice. This is the longer one automatic rotor. But if you see the caliber in the middle, that is the new one.
Okay.
The caliber on the left, that is daymatic. Mm-hmm. And the caliber on the right is the tourbillon.
Yeah, it's not really just a variation of the same.
No, it's completely different. There is some similarities. And I show you the similarities because there's a reason. The daymatic, I go here to the left, is here you have the barrel and the gear train. It goes directly, all these rubies, in direction of the balance wheel.
Yes.
But the position of the second hand is here.
Okay.
It's outside of the flow of the gear train, which we call it is an indirect driven second hand, which means you have an extra gear and a little friction spring to make the second hand run properly. Easy, no?
Yes.
In the tourbillon version, on the right, it's even worse or different. Here you come again from the barrel. They are in the same spot in all 3 movements. But the gear goes like this. It goes partly over the tourbillon cage to drive it, to power it. But there are even 2 gears extra to put that second hand on the typical Lange 1 position. It means 2 gears extra and a friction spring. So it means it takes away from power from the basic movement. It shows actually what a kind of miracle piece the Lange 1 tourbillon perpetual calendar is. This is a highly complicated movement. So when we worked on the new caliber you see in the middle, we wanted to make the second hand, and I come back again with the gear train, and we put it so that here is the second hand on, this is the 4th wheel, and this is a direct driven second hand. You get more power.
Okay.
And you see the gear train for the automatic is also completely new. These are things we've learned, we want to try out. It's new. So this is a completely new caliber. And you recognize it because the direction of the balance cock, that is completely different, and the gears are different. Of course, you use things we used before. Why not? Never change a winning team.
Of course.
But if you make a normal, let's call it a normal perpetual calendar, you want to be able to produce more. So you have to go a little bit simpler. That's why it's also a bit cheaper.
Yeah, of course. So,
but you have to make an easier construction, an easier to build movement, because you want to build more. Okay, we're still at Lange Söhne, so there's no mass production and 50 per month. Is not the case. But it's way better possible to build more of these than of the very delicate tourbillon, which is echt an absolute masterpiece, and it will stay like a masterpiece. But there is a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about that, you designed a completely new movement just for a change of size in the Lange one. So we can expect something like that from Lange.
Y bien, esta fue esta conversación con Ton de Haas o Anthony de Haas, el director de desarrollo de movimientos de A.Lange Söhne. Yo soy Carlos Matamoros, esto es Hora Local y los invito a que nos sigan en nuestras redes sociales. Primero que nada, que se suscriban a este canal si no lo han hecho hasta el momento, que activen la campanita para que reciban notificaciones cada que tengamos un video nuevo y nos sigan en Instagram y Twitter como @hora_local, en Facebook como Hora Local MX y por supuesto aquí en su canal Hora Local.